Good day everybody, it's Karinra here and welcome to what could be the last episode of Only the Holly. So let's see what happens now. That the void is absorbing everyone. Hello. Having properly greeted the horse, Nova rested her arms on the stall door, then leaned down and rested her head on her arms. The horse waffled through Nova's hair and then, upon finding no treats, snorted. Having been properly greeted by the horse, Nova continued on. All the way at the end, instead of more stalls, there was an inside storage area, mostly filled with bales of hay and one Melly. Filled with Melly, alright. She was petting a supine cat in the throes of blissful bees, all purr and curled paws and lazy tail. Were you looking for me, Void? No. Nova knelt down and observed the halo of light-tinged fur surrounding the creature. The cat may or may not have watched back, its eyes almost closed. You can touch her, if you are careful. She said the words grudgingly. Hello. Nova greeted the cat and very carefully touched her fingertips to her paw. The cat shook her paw irritably and licked it as if trying to erase the interaction. Here. Disgruntledly. Oh, I love the purring noise. That's really nice. Melly took Nova's hand and laid it flat across the small creature's ribcage. Nova's fingers sank into fur and a rumble tingled through them. Rumble, I love that. So awesome. The soft rise and fall of bread, the slow-lidded blinking. The world, for now, was very small and uncomplicated. When the purring ran out and the cat jumped down from the hay bale, the world came back again. The cat began washing herself. Did I offend her? She was done, that's all. Also, you weren't really petting her. The cat dipped her in swift, irritated strokes. Will she forgive me if I try harder tomorrow? Perhaps, if you get it right. However, why are you here? Usually you are stuck to Cass like a burr. He had to do something and sent me home. The inn is no one's home. I'll look for him. I might know where he is. She brushed off the worst of the hay and left, either not noticing or not minding that Nova followed along. The inn, filled with light and clatter, seemed far away as they stepped out under the darkening sky. They walked along the edge of the forest for a span until they arrived at a small opening flanked by two trees, their glossy, spiny leaves intermixed with dulled and browning ones. Nova hung back, suddenly unsure if Ava was supposed to be here, letting Melly file ahead. The forest shortly opened to a small, familiar clearing. Melly made straight to Cass, who was sitting on a rock facing away towards the deeper forest. Nova stayed among the trees. Cass! He jumped, then brushed his hands across his face. Oh, was he crying? Interesting. His voice was normal, even cheerful, which was odd since he appeared to be addressing the forest. Melly, what brings you here at this time of night? You. Nonsense, I'd never drag you out to a forest park. Sounds too much like one of those days Mrs. Brumsford told us to scare us into obedience. That sounds exactly like something you would do. There was silence, and it was dark, away from the lights of town. The moon not yet high enough to peek over the trees. Nova shifted, hand upon the rough, deep-grooved bark of a tree. So how did you find me? You remarked once that this place reminded you of the courtyard. though I can't fathom why. I don't know either. He turned and there was a small, ruthless grin on his lips. Alright, you caught me. Now let's get back before we are eaten by wolves or stumble down a magic well. No. What's wrong? Cass's laugh was high and wild, though he reined it in quickly. Nothing, come on. Melly blocked his way, a stolid sentinel. Little problems you meet by drowning them out in the noise of other people. Only big problems are relegated to the courtyard. You've been flagging, Cass. Cass grinned and opened his mouth, but then something in his face cracked. Something cracked in Nova too, seeing that. Yes, I said, you caught me. Now, let's go back. Why won't you let me help you? Because I don't matter. What? Jeez, Cass, calm down. What's wrong with you? Far above, the clouds shift, freeing the stars. It was the first time Nova heard something that sat uncomfortably, that rang fast, that A didn't believe. You have a whole world to worry about. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine in the morning. How long have you been saying that? Where's Nova? You aren't leaving him staring at the wall or anything, are you? Around. You must know you are being difficult. I'm not trying to be, but that's the whole point. But it's not my fault. I can't see a future. Any future. Let me fade away quietly. Nova stepped forward, uncertain. You can't give up. Holly survives. Holly protects. I'm starting to cry. What is this? Then I'm not very good at the family tree either. Adrift in a world that made little sense, Nova stepped out from behind the trees, a shadow against shadows. The movement drew Cass's attention. Nova, don't tell me the rest of town is hiding in those trees as well. His words were light, but his face was bitter, and he wouldn't meet Nova's eyes. No, though there were a lot of squirrels. A beetle crawled across my fingers. Cass relaxed into the smiles. This is important, can we not get sidetracked? Yes, how can I help? There's nothing, it's on me. No one can live completely alone. You can trust us to listen to your worries. The wind in the trees faltered and started up again. I'm not a strong person. I can carry all the silver bead. Nova, so innocent, he doesn't understand. Would that help? Millie strode to the entrance of the clearing and back again. Having broken off a sprig of leaves, she tucked the twig behind Cass's ear and stepped back. You did good today, Scrap. I'm proud of you. Cass looked up, and the moon, only now rousing itself above the trees, glimmered in his eyes. You think I lie when I tell you that every day. Every day, it's truth. You did good today. Cass opened his mouth, as if to speak, but nothing came out. Eventually he swallowed and dropped his head into a knot. Why does he have to be told? Doesn't he already know? He should, but since he doesn't, we'll keep reassuring him. When something's bothering you, I'd like to know. I don't know what all I can offer. Expect someone to listen. I would comfort you if I knew how. Though I cannot fix anything, I want to know how you are feeling. We don't want to leave you behind. Are we going somewhere? Always. She held her hand out, filled with nothing but shadows and light. Cass brushed his hair back, his fingers dangling in the sprig of leaves behind his ear, and took her hand. On his other side, he took Nova's hand, and like that, they headed towards the world of light. That was a really sad moment. The morning was overcast and drizzly, all the green and growing things stretching up towards the rain. Cass wouldn't look at them at first, but finally looked up with a tentative smile, which bloomed into a real one when Nova smiled back. No one much looked happy to be out, keeping their heads down in the fields, but no one much was left either. The tidy fields had become a riot of weeds. Cass and Nova worked in different parts of the field now that Nova knew what to do, and the day settled down into the steady patter of rain, the rhythm of motion, and the sparkling droplets that scattered when Nova touched the plants. When Nova and Cass reconvened, they took a long look at each other. Cass laughed quietly. "We are quite a sight, aren't we? Let's try to get cleaned up, or Miss Mayberry may murder us, or at least make us scrap down the whole tavern, which may amount to the same thing." The mud had gotten everywhere, on their hands and forearms, streaks on their clothes and faces, and cakes so thick around Cass's boots that he must have been an inch taller. They were already sodden and cold, so it didn't make much sense to have a proper bath at the inn, which would take time to prepare, during which they would still be sodden and cold and waiting. So they made towards a little stream nearby to sort off the worst of it. However, before they got halfway there, Cass turned to Nova to say something, then tilted his head. "What's that on your arm?" Nova raised her arm to look, and Cass froze in the act of reaching out, perhaps in the attempt to pluck whatever it was from Nova. "Ooh, is he cracking? Is a cracking like pieces of void out of him? Them. Yep, that's right." The void had broken free of Nova's skin, and it streamed out, a little wisp attached irrevocably to Nova. Cass was backing away. I got to go. I'll get Melly. Maybe she can fix you. Just stay right here. Don't move." He ran, stumbling and slipping in the mud before hitting his stride, and he was gone before Nova could think in words again. Nova stood alone, the rain dropping silently into the tear in her arm. A firefly, glowing fitfully, struggled gamely along the soaked ground. Nova held the wisp of void above it to shelter it from the rain. It wasn't long until Cass reappeared, emerging from the rain and bringing Melly. But perhaps that was wrong. It felt more like time had only just started up again when they arrived. "Whoa, jeez! You are disappearing completely." In any case, it was time enough for Nova to degenerate further. Little streamers of void breaking free from her leg, splashed across her thigh, and I had gone, along with part of her face. Cass hung back, horror writ large on his face, but Melly pushed closer. "Warn them, the void is fascinating, the void is frustrating. Warn them." "Stay back!" The words were spit out, urgency winning out over the distraction of coming apart. "I am not safe." Nova took several steps back, but Melly still came. A wordless cry of alarm broke from Cass. "I know, it's what I've been telling Cass." She stopped a couple paces from Nova and looked the tattered figure over. "It's good you told me, Cass, but I don't know what you expect me to do." You are supposed to fix them. His voice was wretched, and the ache constricted in Nova. He spread her arms pleadingly, plaintively. I will get control again, but this is me. This is what I really am. Cass glanced to Nova and away. Hugging arms close around himself. I know. I don't know what's happening, and I don't mean for it to happen. But this is me. I know. Do you know what might help? I feel I will fly apart and nothing is solid anymore, and everything is a distraction, tugging to unravel me. Should we leave you alone to regroup then? No! Around others, I must remember what speech and time and me are. That is good. We will stay with you then. Cass, looking guilty, stepped up as well, though he still did not look long at Nova. As long as you need. They would have moved under the trees, except the trees had reached the stage of randomly dumping shovels on the unsuspecting as leaves filled up. Cass and Melly, the only ones who minded, were already soaked in any case. So they settled down where they were, and talked a little, inconsequential things, human things, to keep the stream of words up. Miss Mayberry had indeed hollered at Cass when he burst in looking more swamp than human, and he'd pay for it later. Melly noted average rainfall for the area and that they were on track so far for the year. Nova did not contribute much, but drank it all in. Oh, you're good again. Cool. Eventually, the rain lightened and the wounds across Nova's skin healed, drawing tight against the void inside, sealing away the ache again. Melly took Nova's hand in her own, and everyone froze for a moment. It seems you are whole again, at least for now. Then she took Cass's hand and placed it on Nova's chest. Do you see, Cass? No heartbeat. Yes, I know. I think you knew, but did not understand. Should I make a heartbeat for myself? Do not. You're uncanny enough as is. Cass raised his hand, hesitated, then patted Nova's shoulder. I believe we need to lay down some new rules. What? You are right, I was imprecise. We certainly need to lay down some new rules. Cass's eyes slid to Nova and away, and his next question came slow and cautious. Why? Me? Oh, me? How perceptive. We don't know when an episode like this will happen again. The next time could be around others or while we are asleep. I don't know about you, Cass, but I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night to find the door is gone because the void is standing in the way. What do you want to do then? I only seem to get better because we were talking. We can do that if we are not around. That's conjecture at this point. She leaned back and studied Nova. Though perhaps you are right. Can we trust you to have the presence of mind to alert us if you start coming undone again? I'm not sure. I will try. That's better than what? Just leaving them outside and finding in the morning that there's a new hole in the world? Yes, alright. I'll allow it. But I'm not going to be sleeping well for the foreseeable future. When was the last time any of us slept well? Okay, so is this not ending yet? Interesting. Nova was careful to keep to the new strictures, though though A found herself in the room in the inn less and less anyway. Millie alternately locked herself away with strict instructions not to disturb her and disappeared off to locations unknown. She would return grim or pensive, or with a fire in her eyes, and would only answer questions in monosyllables, her mind still focused on some other unseeable thing. Then came the day when Gustav set everything in order to leave. He and Danette were busy at their house, packing, loading, closing doors for the last time. He'd left Cass and Nova instructions to do whatever they wanted with the fields. His tone was light, but the words came disjointed. They didn't get much work done. Cass listless about the field, which appeared uncaring or unconcerned that they were being abandoned. Green leaves dipped and swayed slightly in the wind, neat and tidy in their rows. The melancholy were only just coming in, the smooth fruit blushing purple, optimistic with new lives. Miss Mayberry was standing outside the inn when they returned, running her eyes over the building as if to memorize the grain of the wood. The dull, thin stacks of the chimneys and the crooked steps were low in the middle. "You're leaving in the morning, then?" "I suppose so." "Good. Wouldn't hurt anything to let Struggle stay at the inn. But somehow my mind will be easier if I can lock it." "What will you do?" She looked sidelong at him before returning her attention to the inn. "Do you want to know? The best I can hope for is being a maid or a cook in someone else's inn. Those like Gustav who own their land, best they can do is to be a tenant on someone else's, probably poor land at that. Others before us will get what they could get." "Ah." "Go on in then. I'll be alone shortly." They did, only to find Millie irritably sorting through notes and diagrams, the maps played across her bed. It had been updated recently, a quick sketch line, almost touching the town. "Poor timing, just when I'm getting somewhere." "Need my help with anything?" "No, not with this. You can make sure the cart's still in working order while there are people around who can fix a wheel." Cass nodded and strode purposefully off, leaving Nova to drift back and forth, nothing to do in a sea of activity. The evening passed in a flurry, short bouts of gathering belongings together haphazardly, followed by long bouts of sitting and staring at the blank walls and newly unearthed floor. It was the same in the morning. Nova buffeted into corners by the activity. A marveled at the change wrought in her familiar surroundings. Rooms stripped bare, bulky items like beds standing solitary, chairs sitting upended on tables, never to be taken down again. Finally, A was placed firmly in the stables and told to wait there. It was itchy work, the waiting. New things were happening and there was the restless growl of needing to be somewhere else. Fidgety, Nova's eyes landed on a small grey shape rustling in the hay. Its head popped out and Nova locked eyes with the mouse. They both froze. Nova was better at it, so the mouse soon lost interest and went back to rustling. Infinitesimally slowly, Nova knelt down and stretched a hand out. When the mouse next looked out, there was a new structure for it to explore, and it cautiously placed a tiny cloud food on Nova's fingertip. Another, larger rustle sounded nearby. Would it be the cat? The mouse whirled away and gave several great bounds, but it was too late. The cat was a deadly blur. and there was a sharp high wail, and a tiny snick, a crunch of bone. The cat cocked her head and bowed the steel bundle. She considered the small scrap of fur, licking blood off her lips, then gingerly picked the thing up in her mouth and dropped it at Nova's feet. She patted her head against Nova's leg, giving a brap, of satisfaction, but when the expected praise never came, she sauntered off, her tail held high. Nova knelt by the mouse, fingers spread towards it uselessly in supplication. The small body was damaged and bloody, skin torn beyond repair. Nova almost expected it to get up, twitch its nose, and pound away, but it did not, and Cass and Melly found them like that, waiting for something beyond hope. Though Nova had seen the map and knew in theoretical way that there was more to the world, the faint spiderly lines had done little to convey the reality. They had left Lakewood behind in their small roofed cart. Nova sometimes rode along in the cart, but could keep up quite well with the horses, and so A would more often walk along beside, taking in all the new things to see. There were spindly trees, and trees bleached white as bone, and trees that leaned against each other for support, and trees that strangled their neighbors. Tiny flowers, white and pale pink, bloomed in the grassy median of the road, deep ruts to either side. The newness was a screen at first, obscuring the reason for leaving. When Nova realized it was swift and painful, A would never see Lakewood again, would A? Yep, it's probably already sucked in by the main void. Nova had plenty of time to ponder when they stopped for the day. Disconnect passed through Nova as A felt they were back in the forest clearing in Lakewood, though this one was infinitely different in the types of trees, the placement of the moss, the very grass that covered the ground. What's up? You are rather quiet. Cass had muddled his way through cooking supper and now sat next to Nova with a bowl of something while Melly tended the horses. Did you always live in Lakewood? It was odd saying the town's name. You didn't need names until you left. Nope. So if you're worried about us losing our home, don't be. You're right. That already happened. She dropped to the ground across from them, staring critically at her bowl. She nudged a lump with her spoon. Cass opened his mouth to say something, then simply sighed and gave Melly a mournful, "Why did you say that?" look. Where you came from is gone? Nova tried imagining such a thing, the place of her origin disappearing. A thrill went through him. What is that saying? It's not gone if you remember it. It is gone, but at least the people aren't. Speaking of, when do you think we'll get back to Levincroft? You can send a letter if you think they are worried. No shortage of people heading that way, but we can't afford the detour. What is at Levincroft? It's the capital, so all sorts of things, but currently, in this context, our family. Oh, family. Nova looked down and scratched some lines in the dirt with her doll. I missed my chance to get one. Confusion clouded Cass's face, but it cleared after a moment, and he smiled. You have a family, aren't you? That was a lie. Key word being was. I'd say we are family by now. I mean, some of my cousins I've seen maybe 5 hours tops in my whole life. His face lit up, and he snapped his fingers. You came from my shadow. That has to make us related. Nova looked up slowly. Melly caught Nova's eye and gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. Oh. A smile shone from Nova, radiant, before flickering and going out again. Even though I took you home, people are more important than places, and you are people. The smile came back, more subdued. Melly abruptly stood. We should get to bed. Cass, early mornings, which I know you love. Cass groaned, but stretched and rose, giving Nova a backward smile before heading to the cart. Melly took a step after him, but stopped and gave Nova a long, inscrutable look. Her lips thinned and she turned without another word. Cass and Melly would take turns driving the cart. When Cass drove, Melly secluded herself in the cart. Whatever she was doing, it made unpleasant prickles crawl up Nova's neck and made the ache echo. But when she invited Nova into the cart so she could take measurements again, the prickles were gone, and despite everything that had happened recently, Nova's dimensions were the same. Currently, however, they had stopped for lunch and to give the horses a breather. It was raining lightly, so they were all crammed into the cart. Cass looked a long moment at his salt pork and pickled silver beet stem, then flopped back with a sigh. I would wrestle someone for some manchet bread right now. Wrestle? I mean, I wouldn't kill anyone, but I've definitely gotten to the point where I'd wrestle someone. You'd lose. It'd only be other nobles who would have any manchet bread anyway. You'd still lose. Then I'd get Nova to wrestle for me. Okay. You are not appropriating the void for some manchet bread. Not even cakes with honey? I can do it. No. Fine, I'll put it on the record though that I wish we could stop at Levincroft for some real food. And where would you find the money to keep you in manchet? That could make bread. The bans on transmutation weren't left for luxury. He's using all his strength on transmutating potable water and high-energy grain for the refugees. I thought you said you wouldn't kill anyone for your bread. Cass opened his mouth to reply, groaned and rolled over on his face. The small size of the cart meant he came to rest against Nova's legs. Nova patted Cass's head. Let's stop early tonight. We'll be near a lake and can try to catch some fish. Cass's reply was muffled, but it sounded like okay. The rain had gone by the time they reached the lake, and the day was settling down into calm and sun, light rippling across the water. Melly directed Cass to a likely spot and cast a line for him before returning to the cart to puzzle over the map. Nova trotted along after Melly. She glanced up as A approached and set the map aside. How are you? Not coming apart anymore? Nova cocked her head. The egg churned lazily in a core. No. It is there, but not here. I'll trust you on that, whatever it means. How can I make it go away? Make what go away exactly? The ache. It's tiring to fight it every day. It's a cycle and I only ever do the same thing. Melly leaned forward, the map forgotten. You are choosing every day, even if it doesn't feel like it. Do you give up or continue on? What do you choose to do today? I... I got something. Cass, somehow wet, came eagerly into their midst. He held up a line with something small and spiny attached. Melly inspected it and shook her head. It's inedible. Let's try for a different variety. Cass's grin quirked into wryness, and he gave a salute to Melly's expertise. Melly reset the hook and sent him on his way again, frowning after him. Go keep Cass company. He needs you more than I do right now. Okay. Nova is so adorable. But I feel like this is actually going to be at least one more episode, so I will leave this here. I hope you liked it. I'm really enjoying this story. It's really nice. And bye bye!